Hello, good evening. This is Alex Koken calling in from Florida. And boy, what a great graph to show the true power of two in this introductory graphics that we've got here. Anyhow, tonight we will introduce a very special guest, and he's coming all the way from Spanish Fork in Utah, and his name is DeeWayne Adams. He is one of the $1 Billion Project certified trainers and a Star Consultant with Isogenics, a great networker, full of knowledge, and tonight he's going to be sharing with us his guide to prospecting and inviting. And I'll just let DeeWayne go ahead and give his fantastic presentation.
Okay, well, thank you, Alex, very much. Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be with you here tonight to discuss with you somewhat used to be one of my greatest fears when I was first introduced to network marketing, and that was prospecting. I'll just tell you a quick short story, a little bit about myself. I was introduced. I was raising 10 children, working 2 jobs, introduced to network marketing, and my mentor at the time was a physician and told me that I needed to meet new people because my total name list consisted of about 6 people. And I was pretty scared to do that. And he taught me how to prospect. And so I put together a slide presentation. Hopefully I'll be able to help you with some of the things that if that's a problem for you, you'll be able to overcome that fear also. So we'll just quickly go through the slides and take it from there. So I put together this guide for prospecting and inviting people, and basically teach people how to overcome their fear of prospecting. So to get started, I just wanted to mention a few things about fear. You know, fear is basically false events appearing real. The best way to overcome them is to face them head on. And my dad said, the more you practice, the better we get, which is true. And I would just like to say, you know, for those of you who are a little bit afraid of prospecting, don't worry too much about it. Take it in small steps. And you'll overcome the fear, and it'll become one of your greatest strengths. If you eat food, you can learn to prospect, because both skills require the same skill. Both events require the same skill, and that's to open your mouth. So if you can eat, you can open your mouth, let's go ahead and take the deal. I think the very best thing to do is make it fun. Make it fun. You know, people get scared about prospecting, but I say make it fun. The goal is to gather as much information you can about people that you meet and to collect that information to use later in your business. Okay, and you should start where you feel comfortable. But you need to start. You need to get out of your comfort zone. You need to go out and meet people. Use your own skills and talents and personality to meet new people. And a different way to look at prospecting is basically to make the time to introduce yourself to other people and not really call it prospecting, but just learn to get to know other people. You should remember that you're in control. You can choose who you meet and who you don't. If a guy is a little scary, you know, don't worry about going up and meeting him. But you're the one that's in control. And you're going to be looking for people that you want to work with on a long-term, consistent basis. So where do you go prospecting? Well, it's not necessary to go anywhere prospecting. You can make it a point to go somewhere, but I tell people, you know, just be aware of the people around you that you live with every day and that you meet every day. The mentor who taught me how to meet new people basically sat me down and said, DeeWayne, what do you do on a daily basis? What do you do on a weekly basis? Well, I was working 2 jobs, and I worked, and slept. That's about all I did. And he said, after evaluating what I did, he said, well, did you put gas in your car? And I said, yes. And so he taught me basically how to meet everybody at the gas station. And I'll go through that in a minute. But every day, whether we're at the gas station, the grocery store, the mall, a church, or at work, we come in contact with different people. I used to have a job where I had to work on an elevator. I had to take an elevator 14 floors up, and those 14 floors that I had to take up, I made it a point to get to know people or to practice meeting people on that elevator. And so I'll go through that in a second also. So just get to know, learn to meet the people wherever you're at the gas station, the grocery store, or the mall. And you identify which one of these people that you choose to meet to qualify to be in your business. How do you start to prospect? Well, this is the funnest part for me because, as we look at this slide, I'll just go through what my mentor taught me how to do. I said, basically, Theron, I do not know how to meet people. He said, here's what I want you to do. When you go get gas, you put the nozzle in your gas tank, click it on the slowest setting, and then I want you to step across the island and look and see if there's any other people on the other side of the island. So he actually sent me out looking for people. I was a little nervous to do that, and he says, here's what I want you to do, DeeWayne. I want you to step across the island, and if you see somebody, I want you to make eye contact with them and smile. And he actually had me do that for a week, and then I had to report back to him how many people that I had actually met at the service station and how many I had smiled at. Then he gave me the second assignment, and that was to greet the people. And he said, so once you step across the island, I want you to say to them, hi, how are you doing? And smile. And I actually had to report back to him how many people that I had actually met and stepped across the island, gained eye contact with, and smiled, and then greeted them with a hi, how are you doing? Then he taught me this basic form. And Tracy went over that a little bit this morning on the call, but that's family, occupation, recreation, and message. And he said, just memorize that, because once you step across the island, you gain eye contact, you smile, and you say, hi, how are you doing? He says those people are going to want to talk, or they're not going to want to talk. They're going to think you're crazy, or they'll smile back at you and talk to you. And so he says, I want you to remember family, occupation, recreation, and message, because if they have kids in the car, you can talk about their family. If they're towing a boat behind a truck, you can talk about recreation. If their car's rusty, you may want to talk about money. He also taught me to say, the next thing he taught me to say is, that is a nice car, because I was dealing with people who had cars, or that's a nice truck. And the thing about people is, if they're not nervous, if they're not people who are, if they're friendly people and they're willing to talk to you, they'll tell you everything they like about their car or they don't like about their car. And so that's basically how I learned to meet people. Smile, get eye contact, say, hi, how are you doing? And you can practice that anywhere you go. I tell people, get in line when you go to the grocery store, or when you get in line, or when you go somewhere, get in the longest line so you can practice and make it fun for yourself. The next thing I think you should learn is some high-yielding questions. A lot of times we ask too many questions to people that are just simple yes and no answers. And so you get grunt answers, yeah, no, yeah, no. And we don't want that. We want people to be specific, because our goal when we're prospecting or talking to people or making new friends is trying to find out what their needs, wants, and desires are. And so if you learn to ask high-yielding questions that have them give you a little bit more information, and then you shut up and listen, then those kinds of questions have a tendency to have relaxed people, make them feel better about making them be your friend. And so, ask them, what are your plans for this? Do you ever consider doing this? And then go from there. So I lost control of the slides.
Don't worry. You should get it back. Hold on. Okay. You were on this slide. Now
Okay.
just go ahead.
So the next thing you do is make sure you listen to people. If they're willing to talk to you, listen to them. Okay? Listen to their answers so that you know what to talk about next. Okay? And as you listen to their answers, there will be a few things that happen to help qualify them. Because as people are responding back to you, that's what I call qualifiers. So listen for the qualifiers. If people are willing to talk with you and they're pleasant and they smile, then they possibly could qualify. But remember, you're in control. You do not have to have anybody in your business that you do not want in your business. So if they smile back at you and they're willing to talk to you, they may be qualifiers. If not, just move on and consider it as practice. Okay? If they continue to talk to you and they're pleasant, I like to ask people questions about them, their family, their occupation, their recreation. Are you new here? Is this your first time here? What are you doing shopping at 3 o'clock in the morning? Isn't it terrible? What's happening financially to people? You talk about all kinds of things, but most people that you meet for the first time are only going to feel comfortable giving you information about themselves to a certain point. And when they get to that point, generally, if one of the high-yielding questions you've asked them is what they do for a living, that sticks with them. And eventually what they'll do is ask you, well, what is it you do? And I think it's important that you know the answer to that question. Make sure that it's as comfortable and you're relaxed and it flows off the end of your tongue as though you were a doctor or a dentist or a lawyer or whatever you do for your regular occupation. And you have to have that answer. When they say, well, what is it you do? Then you have to give them that answer. I wrote that answer down, and I made my wife call me wake me up at 2 o'clock in the morning or anytime she wanted to. She could surprise me, jump around the corner and say, well, what do you do? And I had to answer that until it got to the point where it just flowed. And so that's what you need to know. You need to know what the answer to that question is. What do you do? So the next thing is, once you've met people, you do not want to extend it too long. Give them a brief explanation of what you do for a living. And here's where I like to use my business card. And, I like to say, hey, listen, it's been really nice knowing you. My name is DeeWayne Adams. I pull out my business card, and I usually compliment them. And Tracy mentioned a little bit of this on the call this morning. When he sits down at a restaurant, he tells people at the restaurant, they must pay you a lot of money, a lot of bucks to do this. Well, I tell people, I try and compliment them. They're very sharp. It's been a pleasure meeting them. Your company's lucky to have you. And then, like Tracy, sometimes I use the close that, in my company, people like you get paid very well or do very well. And I try and leave it at that. I don't want to give them too much information. I want to give them just enough information to get their curiosity and to remember me. And so then I use my business card as a tool to give them their information and try to get as much information from them as I can, their email, their phone number. Generally, if you ask for their email and then ask for your phone number, they'll write it down. But if you ask for their phone number first, they kind of feel like, you're invading their privacy. So I usually always ask for the email first. And then when I'm away from those people, if they haven't given me a card of their own, then I'll take one of my business cards and I'll write down that I met these people at Macy's or the supermarket or the mall or the service station. I'll write down as much information as I can about what our conversation entailed. Where I met them, what I learned about them, what I learned about their family, etc. Okay, folks, and I think after you've planned your follow-up, it's best to follow up within 42 to 78 hours after the time you've first made contact, because that way they will still remember meeting you at that location or that place. And so it's important to follow up as soon as you can and use the information that you've collected to remind them of who you are and what went on when you met. That's basically everything there is that I know about prospecting. I think the key things are that you need to make it fun, and you need to enjoy yourself. Remember, you're the one that's in control. No one can force you in any way, shape, or form. So I would say have fun with the program, get out, meet new friends, just open your mouth and start talking to people. And as you do that, remember the key elements are to gain eye contact, smile, and then have a pleasant greeting. Hi, how you doing? And that can start you off on meeting new friends. And if you review this webinar and know the things that your goals, and know what things you want to accomplish as you're out prospecting, and understand the qualifiers that people have to qualify to be in your business. They can't just, they can't just get in. Make it fun, have fun with it, and just go out and meet a bunch of people. Don't feel pressure that you have to show them the business or anything else. Just get out and experience meeting people. And as you get comfortable doing that, then you'll become natural at getting the names and getting the email addresses, and that will all follow up. So that's all I have to say, Alex. I really enjoyed being on the webinar, and I've enjoyed all the previous webinars. So get out there and make new friends. Have a great day.
Hey, thanks so much, DeeWayne. And it was a fantastic learning experience. I really think I'm myself going to review the webinar once we post it tomorrow at howtogetgoing.com site. And there's a lot I can learn, and I can tell you I respect very much what you have taught me in network marketing. You definitely are a great prospector, a great networker, and we really appreciate having you here tonight and teaching us all you know. So have a great evening, and hope to see you soon then.
All right, thanks, Alex.
You're welcome.